Now we're getting on to the part where we're actually going to learn a golf swing, which obviously ain't bad. And the trick here is, first of all, to understand what we're trying to do. The main trick, and although it sounds a little bit condescending, is to hit the golf ball with the golf club. And the golf club is a pretty simple instrument. It's a stick with a head on it. The only way you're going to move this with any kind of speed is to allow it to swing a bit like a pendulum. And to swing like a pendulum, it's going to need an axis which you can swing around. And we use here the wrist. So the wrist has got to be free so that the golf club can swing. And this is really the only thing that's going to swing in a golf swing. I know we describe the whole movement as a golf swing, but really the main part that swings in a golf swing is the golf club. And that can only swing if your grip is light enough. If you hold the thing too tightly, you're not going to get it to swing. So the first thing we're going to learn is to allow the golf club to swing around our wrist joints. If I take the address position, which we learned a little earlier, and just allow the golf club to swing back, it will come to a roundabout parallel to the ground. And I want the leading edge or the toe of the club to be pointing up towards the sky there. Then I allow gravity to bring it right back down where it was before, swing it up on the other side, and when it reaches parallel to the ground, the leading edge is once again pointing on the side. This is what we call the release. It's not going to happen exactly like this, but it's not something you're going to be able to think about either. But here what we're trying to do is just get the hands and the wrists into a feeling of being able to allow the golf club to swing like this. And this is pendulum movement is very important in a golf swing. What we're trying to do here is allow the club to move around this joint. So the joint is actually hinging up and then out, up and out. Because the golf club isn't built vertically, it's not swinging exactly in a vertical line up and down. It is actually swinging slightly upwards and inwards. And in order to do that, not only is your wrist joint hinging, your lower arm is also rotating. Fortunately, if you know what the club's supposed to do, you don't really have to think about hinging and rotating. You just think about moving the club to this position, moving it back to the starting position, and moving it up to this position. And then you basically do that until you can do it without any other body part really moving, just swinging around the wrist. Once you've done that, you've got the first system in a golf swing off. That means a third of the golf swing is done, you're sorted. Now we're going to go on to the second system in a golf swing. The second system is the body. Obviously, if I was going to hit the ball just with a swing out of my wrist, I might hit it, but it isn't going very far. So in order to hit the golf ball a little bit further, I'm going to have to take more swing. That means that the golf club is not going to stop here, it's going to go further back. But as you can see, it's staying more or less in its own angle or plane. I'm not really manipulating the golf club very much. I allow it to move up. And when I get to around about chest height, you can see that to get there with two hands on the golf club, I'm going to have to make more body movement. If we take away the arms and hands now, you'll actually find that I've turned my upper body through around about 90 degrees. So if I take the address position, cross my hands across my chest and turn my body as far as I can to the right without losing the flex in my knees, you'll actually see I've turned the upper body through around about 90 degrees. This is a position we call the X factor. The X factor is created quite simply in that the hips are going to be resisting against the knees. If I keep the knees bent, I'll only be able to turn the hips around about 45 degrees. Each vertebrae in my spine will then allow the upper body to rotate further until I have another 45 degrees, so I have the classic 90-degree rotation in my shoulders here. Don't worry if you can't get this far. Obviously, the older you are, the stiffer you get, but sometimes you'll actually find that you won't be able to get as far back. Rather than straightening your legs, standing up, changing your spine angle, you want to try and just turn as far as your body will allow, and at some stage or other, there's going to be a stop. But this angle that we create between the hips and the shoulders is very important. I'm turning as far as I can with my hips against bent knees, and then I'm turning my shoulders a little bit further, and when I've got my 90 degrees, that's about the size of it. This angle is then going to be held when I rotate back into impact. That means that when I come back to impact and my shoulders are back where they started, you can actually see that my hips are turned 45 degrees towards the target. So it always looks as though I'm really kind of turning my hips first, which I do to a certain extent. On the other hand, really what I'm doing is I'm keeping this angle which I created in the backswing. So it's no good to me if I'm turning my hips and my shoulders through the same distance. I really want to turn myself almost like a coiled spring, building up tension in my lower body and tension in my upper body so that I can actually use this tension to hit the golf ball a little bit further. And then when I turn back into the golf ball, I've got it. So that is more or less all that the golf swing is for the body. We've seen what the hands do, we've seen what the body does, and we're starting to build. We've got 2/3 of the golf swing, and we're doing very well in the time. The only thing that's missing is basically the arm movement. The arms have actually come up in front of my chest. And this is another thing that's often misunderstood in a golf swing. When you look at it from a forward angle, it looks as if the arms are basically swinging from side to side. In truth, that's not what they're doing at all. They're swinging more kind of up and down in front of your chest. So when I actually turn my body to the right, I'm also lifting my arms up and hinging the wrists. So this is kind of multitasking. Maybe one of the reasons why some of the girls have got better looking swings than the guys. Multitasking has never really been our forte, although I practice it quite regularly. I can now drink beer and watch television at the same time. In truth, if you think about it, it's just turn your body to the right, swing your arms up and hinge your wrists. Now obviously a lot of you out there are saying that can't be a full swing, and you're not wrong. At least you're not wrong in some cases. If you're a little bit older, a little bit stiffer, maybe a little bit overweight, it might well be that this is a full swing for you. Unfortunately, the majority of people do not accept their own personal full swing. They're all trying to swing back like Tiger Woods. And that's one thing you've got to think about. How old are you? How long have you been playing golf? Tiger started when he was about 4 or 5 years of age. The average golfer in Germany starts when they're 50. If you're looking at starting golf at 50, you don't want to be swinging like Tiger Woods. You want to be swinging within your own physiological boundaries. And the boundaries are more or less set by your body and arms. When you turn to the right, your hips will at some stage stop. Now obviously you can straighten your knees, you can stand up to get more backswing, but you're going to find the way back to the golf ball gets more difficult. So you're going to be limited in the body rotation. You'll also be limited in how far your arms can swing up. If you've got more than one chin, you're going to be colliding now between your chin and your upper arm, so there's not an awful lot you can do. If you're not, however, then there is a little bit more room here. And what will actually happen in a golf swing is I will swing it back to around about chest height and then allow the club to pull my arms back until the left upper arm is on my chin. And that's really more or less when we stop in the backswing. Now, if you are a little bit more flexible, you might be able to get back a little bit further. But if you try and do this and your body's not used to it, you're probably going to need a very good doctor to get back to where you were before. So in the most cases, I wouldn't say swing further back than where your left arm reaches your chin. It's perfectly enough swing, and we're going to actually generate the golf swing's energy somewhere else in the golf swing. We don't get it just by taking a big backswing. So if you take a backswing and look like John Daly at the top, there's a good chance that you're going to miss the golf ball, and if you do hit it, you're going to miss the fairway. Try and limit your golf swing to your own natural boundaries. That means I'm going to turn as far as I can turn, I'm going to swing the arms up to about chest height, and then I'm going to let the physical energy of the golf club pull my arms back to chest height, or to chin height, sorry. Where is this energy coming from? When you take a backswing, you're actually creating a kinetic energy, which is actually helping the golf club to move. That means you do not have to do an awful lot from here. It's like parking the car in the garage, just one moment. If you want to park a car in a garage, you're not going to drive into the garage at full speed and then brake, you're hopefully going to take your foot away from the pedal when you get into the drive and let it roll into the garage. It's easy to brake then. So we also don't want to be swinging the thing back with so much energy that we can't stop at the top. On the contrary, what we're doing is we're making a full turn, and when the turn stops, which is roundabout when the club is at chest height, then I'm allowing the rest energy in the golf club to pull my arms up and back into the end position. I'm allowing the club plane to decide where it goes from this position. And this will later be very important if you're playing with other golf clubs.